Hey, I'm Danny, and I'm the composer for the music going on with Where Beasts Were Born. And if you're new here, Where Beasts Were Born is a game about trying to gather different resources that are guarded by monsters. And that might seem basic, but the catch is that the creatures are constantly evolving through a genetic system. And because of that, as you keep getting further and further in the game, the creatures are going to get harder and harder to kill because of the process of evolution, right? So it's a really cool concept. The idea here with the music is going to be about that system of evolution. So if you're interested in seeing how to make music for a video game, stick around. So we've got three main layers. We've got a base layer of music, so think like an ambient layer, something more in the background that is just giving the foundation for what else is going to get added onto it. Then we're going to have another layer, which is more like anticipation layer. So think that like the ambient layer is just kind of chill, going on in the background of like, say you're in a town or something, and then you leave the town and it starts to build up. You're going on an adventure, right? So we get more layers added onto it. Then there's going to be a third layer, which is an action layer. And that action layer is going to be changing depending on what types of enemies you're facing, and being like in a combat situation with the different monsters and stuff like that. It sounds complicated, and it kind of is. I'm not going to get too much into the theory unless we've got musicians out there who want to know that stuff. So let me know if you do want to know that stuff. But right now, I think it would be best if I just showed how to do this rather than try to explain it, because it's music, right? You can't just see it. So let's do that. Let's start trying to build something. As I usually do, I'll start at the piano to try to figure out what kind of chords we're going to be using. I don't think it makes sense to start out in a major key in a game where you're literally living in a cave and fighting monsters all the time. So we're going to start on something in a key, probably E minor. Okay, so let's say we're in E minor. With a lot of the folk instruments I've got, E minor is a good key for them to be in. Something like that, right? It's like kind of ethereal sounding in a way too. Yeah, that's cool. So we would build a bass layer just on those chords, okay? So let's start with that. We got this E, F sharp, G thing. Then we've got A major, G, F sharp thing, and that would complete like a decent chunk of a loop, like one section of a loop, because it goes back down to this E minor chord. As long as we keep things in the middle area of the keyboard and frequency range here, we can change things around that fairly easily. So now I'm going to do the actual recording process. I'm going to kind of show a little bit of each instrument, what that looks like building up, and then I'll show you what it looks like with everything all together at the end. We've got many layers at this point. I think we've got about like 12. I mean, there's plenty more that we could add. I think having harp in the ambient layer would be nice. Something that makes this feel less intense all the time. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna add a harp layer to the earlier loop. Good. I think that adds a little something. Now is the fun part where I get to actually explain how this is all supposed to work. So what I have here is all of the different tracks that you saw me build. I've now put them into their own categories and then exported them as their own individual WAV files. So we've got our ambient loop is this track right here, the yellow track, okay? Then we've got the orange track is our anticipation loop, and then we've got the action loop down here. So the way that we're gonna show you this is that as I turn them up, you're assuming that you're getting closer or closer to an enemy or out leaving a safe zone, right? So in this ambient loop, that's gonna be going on in the background the whole time. And it sounds like this. Okay, so this ambient loop is going on the whole time. And it would be longer in a real track, but as a demonstration, this is the idea of it. So if the ambient track is going, that's gonna be holding everything down. It's the foundation, the base layer. Now this anticipation track, as you're leaving a safe zone, is gonna start fading in. And then, as you're getting closer to different enemies, so let's say an enemy is nearby, the action loop is going to start to fade in as well. Enemies are gone, action loop fades out. Now you're just doing your same old thing. You get back to a safe zone again. And the music will change to show that. Okay? So this is the general idea for the system that we're trying to build here. It will work a whole lot better with longer tracks, obviously, but I think this is going to work out okay. Thanks for watching and staying up to date. Give German Uncle and me like, subscribe, follow, all of that good stuff. And we're going to put out more updates in the future. So thanks so much for keeping watch on Where Beasts Were Born. And I'll see you next time.